Hey everybody, it's Hottesome. Happy National Coming Out Day. Rainbow. Um, just letting you know to always be yourself. Um, Always try to be positive if you can. I mean, life can be a little tricky. You can get down about some things. If you are someone who is struggling to come to terms with who they are, what they like, their preferences are, whether you be that quiet nerd or that shy girl, that introvert, um, just know that you're not alone. Definitely went through some teenage angst. Um, it was just really like, I don't know, had all of this pent up emotion. And it seems like you're so emotional when you're a teenager. It's like, the world's out to get me. But for me, it was more like, I know I'm different. I don't know how. It's like, I need to just, follow the yellow brick road to my life and just kind of ride that train. Um, and I was a sophomore in high school when I really started to come to terms with, like, um, me as a person, my interests, realizing that they are so broad and so vast, and that I don't have to be in a box. I don't have to fit into anybody's perfect little conception of what it's like to be, a man or, a black man for that matter. It's like I'm gay. I am of African descent, but I mean, I'm not only of African descent. I have a rich Native American culture, some Irish culture way back in the family lineage. Um, you know, a vegetarian, vegan, well, vegan, but I mean, I was vegetarian and then vegan and vegetarian and vegan. Um, I like all genres of music: country, jazz, rock, hip hop, R&B, folk, world, salsa. I like it all, and it's like you don't have to fit into anyone's like idea of what it's like to be, whatever you are. It's like define yourself, find yourself, you know. Um, and it can be a little tricky, it can be a little hard, especially when you're young. Um, for me, I was 14, going on 15 when I, was starting to come out. And I didn't really want to come out, it was just like kind of happening. But the great thing about it is like, opening up to like a friend here or there, like just telling them, hey, like, yeah, I'm attracted to men. Like, I know I'm attracted to men. I don't know what that means. Because having a boyfriend in high school, like, you know, over a decade ago, like my age is showing, um, I'm like, that concept was just like unfathomable. I had crushes and like I let it be known to like my friends and to those crushes. I'd write them a cute little letter, um, which helped me discover my creative side and that I love writing. Another staple about me, and it's like when you first look at me, you wouldn't know what to think back then about who I was. I dressed in really like oversized clothes. I was really heavy set. Um, I, was just trying to keep to myself but do good in school. But, sophomore year when I was trying to figure this out, really let my grades up a lot. And I was always on the honor roll except for that year. Um, and I was taking like honors classes and I was just like failing because I didn't really care. So I just really wanted to like, be accepted. I wanted me to accept myself. And it's like, that's the first thing you have to do is accept yourself. Before anyone else can accept you. And maybe you can't come out to your mom or dad or your sibling or your best friend or aunt or grandpa or whoever is closest to you or whoever you live with. Or maybe you're an adult and, you've lived most of your life or your whole life just kind of suppressing this part of yourself. And, the cool thing about, coming out in 2017 is that, there are labels, and labels are just those. But what I like to say about labels is they're bittersweet because they help you figure out who you are, but they also do not define you. that is not all you are. You are not just bisexual. You're not just a lesbian. You're not just transgender. You know, you're so much more than that. Yeah. So, I mean, basically my coming out story, which I don't think I've ever shared online, is, you know, when I was 14, 15, had a huge crush on one of my friends. He kind of knew it. He was kind of like leading me on a little bit because he really cared about me, but he didn't feel the same way. And that was kind of back and forth. And when I thought it could actually turn into something, as when shit kind of hit the fan at home, because my grades were so bad at this point. It's like halfway through sophomore year, I really fucked up the first quarter. Dealing with that, dealing with, like, you know, all these other interests I was finding out that I had, hanging out with a lot of the goth and the punk kids, and just, like, you know, dressing a little differently without, like, overdoing it, and just trying to relate, but really me just being, like, open and being myself was how I was relating to people. And my parents were just like, you know, something's wrong with him, something's off, I don't know what. So my mom was like going through my journals without me knowing for a long period of time. I never really slipped up and, like, you know, disclosed too much my journals, but she was like kind of super suspicious. And finally they just like went through my school stuff one day, and I had a big collection of like half naked dudes and some actually naked dudes in a folder that no one else could really access, but if someone wanted to go through my backpack, they could have easily found it, like, buried way down. And it was like really stupid for me to take it to school because I could have got expelled for having some of those photos, but also, you know, everyone would find out, and it's like that would have just made it more difficult. So in a way I was kind of glad that my parents exposed me, but also like really hurt and upset because I'm like, I was still trying to figure it out. And you know, when it came down to like that final confrontation, my mom was like, what does this mean, stuff like that, and I told her, and I felt really good about it for a second, but then she kind of ripped me down a little bit, and she'll deny this to this day, but basically she got a little preachy. She was like, do you know what the Bible says? And I don't think she was trying to be like, you know, hurtful or like bashful, but it came off that way, especially like, you know, someone who's like not even like 15 yet kind of like coping with this, and your mom who you care about, who, you know, has provided for you and like been there for you most of your life, is like basically taking a step back, like she's not there, and it just like really fucking hurt. But my dad, he was like really supportive. He's always been really supportive. He's always talked to me about that. I don't talk to him openly about everything, but I know that I could if I wanted to, because he's a good dad. He wasn't always around, but he's made up for it a lot with, you know, my niece, my nephew, my brother's kids, and he's really like been making more of an effort to like kind of communicate more. He doesn't really always ask me in detail about myself. Both my parents are really bad at that, but I mean, they're getting better with age. Long story short, you never know what could happen, and I think there's always going to be someone in your life who you can reach out to or talk to, and if you can't, like, you can always write me. I'm a really good listener, and I just try to listen, you know, not give you advice necessarily, more like just kind of discuss freely, and I think that's what people should do, just be open to discussing things. That would make the world a hell of a lot better place. So yeah, I want to get too ranty. It's Wednesday. But happy National Coming Out Day. I hope you subscribe and like me. I am on everything social media wise, even things that people don't use, like Ask FM. Like, I don't even use that, but hey, I'm on there. It's like, you need a friend, and that's your social media preference, your app of choice. Then hit me up. I'm on Twitter at Hottesome, Facebook Hottesome Inc., my YouTube channel Hottesome Inc. also, which if you're watching this, I hope you subscribe. I hope you comment below. Tell me about your coming out story, what I was like for you. Um, Maybe you personally haven't come out, or you don't need to come out because, you know who you are. You don't have to identify or define yourself as straight or gay or any other variation. Maybe you have someone that came out to you and that was really emotional for you because you didn't know how to handle it, or maybe it was just like, why didn't you tell me sooner kind of thing. Just share those stories with me. It's like, if we're all sharing our stories, all, being open, you never know who might see that. It might be helpful to them because they could be struggling right now. They might be struggling a year from now, but, all of us kind of being supportive no matter what we define ourselves as, I think that will help the world be a better place. It'll definitely make things go a long way, and people just need to just try to be more open. I think that's the key to this day and to all the days being great.